that cup, so... All right, so welcome everyone. Thank you for turning up. We are the French Tech, the Bangkok unit of the French Techs. We are a small community of people, entrepreneurs, tech-minded people, corporations, friends gathering around this type of topics. We meet monthly or every two months to talk about tech, talk about VC investment, technology in general. We are always very, very grateful to have wonderful speakers every time. And tonight is a very good example of this. Very happy as well to have super sponsors every time who host us for free, who give us food for free, beer for free. So be grateful when you have these delicious beers and cold cuts later on, because we've been lucky to have friends sponsoring this event for that. I think I'm pretty much done. Just one thing, I'm very happy to announce that we have a new website since this week. So feel free to type in Google FrenchTechBangkok.com and you'll learn more about the kind of activities we do. We have a small board of people who are all experts in specific domains: IoT, telecom, M&A, legal. If you have any specific questions, you want to be connected with your peers or other people in your industry or outside your industry, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Really, it's a friendly community. We are all here to support each other. All right, I'm pretty much done. I think, Justin, you want to say something about 7 Peaks, maybe?
Sure. Thank you very much. So, first of all, I want to welcome you all here to our office here, 7 Peaks Software. So, my name is Jostein Aksnes. I'm the CEO of 7 Peaks. So, first of all, thank you for choosing this location for your event and bringing this kind of amazing panel and topic. So, very quickly, 7 Peaks Software, we are an international software and design agency. We've been in Thailand for the last 6.5 years. We have a team of 75 here in our office in Bangkok. And do end-to-end software development, UI, UX design. I'm very happy to see you all here. Hopefully I can meet more new faces here today, and please enjoy the food, drinks, and some interesting talks. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. All right, thanks a lot for hosting us. It's a great space. I hope we can do more events later on. Now I want to introduce our panel. So first of all, I would like to welcome Harprem Dua, Chief Disruption Officer at Boltec. Welcome, Prem. And we have also Cindy Kwa, co-founder and CEO of Sunday. Please join us. And we also have with us from Rujai, Nicolas Faquet, founder and CEO. Welcome, Nicolas. And last but not least, we have David Henderson, founder and CEO of Driver. So I myself is also co-president of La French Tech Bangkok with Etienne. We are just trying to do these events basically to bring people together, learn about a new topic. So I'm going to ask a few questions to our panelists, and hopefully we learn about Insurtech tonight. So first of all, before we jump in, I have a few numbers as well that I would like to share with the audience during my research. So found that the global insurance market is actually $5.8 trillion, which is a great size for a market. And the global investment in Insurtech last year was 7.2 billion. So there's definitely a lot of money going into digitalizing and bringing new solutions to the tech, to the insurance market. And also the Thailand insurance market I found is $8 billion, which is big, but still small compared to some of the size of the global market. Yes, for like motor and so most of the thing will be motor insurance as well on the non-life, which is like 4 billion, and a few of you are in the motor insurance business as well, so it's often the first step for that. So there's a lot of things happening in this space. A few companies have raised just in Q1 this year. In the last 3 months, we have Appman raised $4.6 million. We have GetGo raised $6.7 million. We have Fairdy, who got acquired. We've got Rabbit Finance, which raised fund and then acquired some companies. So we can see lots of activities. And our panelists are not also left out. Boltec acquired Frank, which was launched by Prem a couple of years ago. We have Sunday, which raised about $9 million as well. And Rujai also raised a couple of years ago, right? Some Series A. So all of you guys have also got some funding and probably been doing some great stuff that you can tell us about. And David has raised fund too, actually, recently, right? Yep. So got that. One last is actually French. Also, there's a French Insurtech called Alan, which has raised 54 million, and the run was led by Temasek, a Singaporean conglomerate. So we can see also in the other way around, Asian funds starting to invest into French companies and others. So definitely a global business. So those are just to give a few numbers and a bit of idea. So first of all, I would like to look at the market from a consumer perspective. And how is the market when you look at consumers, penetration rates, and the readiness of customers to purchase insurance? How do you see that? Is it advanced? Does it have a lot of growth perspective? Maybe you can share a little bit on that. So not sure. Maybe Nicolas, you want to go first? Yeah.
I will go first. So, I mean, Thailand is the penetration of insurance is quite high already, especially on the motor side. About 60% of the car in Thailand are properly insured, I will say, with comprehensive type of cover. So that's quite high for the region. It's probably the highest for the region. On the health side, I think it's starting to move also quite quickly. And Cindy probably getting more involved in health will tell more. And it's a market which, with COVID also I've seen some acceleration, where we've seen people looking more for health cover online and offline. And yeah, that's about it. Okay. Want to add something on health?
Sure. Hi, my name is Cindy. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so Sunday actually, the product lines that we primarily play around is in health insurance, electronic space, and motor on a cross-sell basis. So within the health space, I think it's still very there's a low penetration. When you look, it's still mainly driven by corporate financing. So if you look at annual reports of providers, it's mostly all financed by corporates. But I think now what we do see from post-COVID is that actually there's a lot more increase in awareness. You start off with small ticket items, but then you start seeing a lot of people buying larger ticket items. So previously we used to think that only if someone gets into a very gets hospitalized, then you would think that people will want to consider buying health insurance. But actually, after COVID, we saw it differently. So that was one of the biggest things that we saw. And I guess another result from that is during COVID, like health insurance was one of the product lines that didn't reverse in terms of penetration. In actual fact, what we saw was an increase in premiums within the industry. So that's a little bit of our experience. Yep.
Okay. So what do you see post-COVID? A lot of perspective in terms of growth, I guess. We can establish that. And so looking at the way consumers purchase insurance, what do you see are the major pain points at the moment? And maybe you can share a bit how your businesses are addressing some of these pain points on the consumer side, how you're helping to grow this overall market and make it easier for the consumer to actually purchase insurance or to get insured.
I think the first pain point is price. Insurance in Thailand is very expensive for multiple reasons. One is it's mainly distributed by agent and broker, which are taking reasonably high commission. Secondly is the industry is still reasonably outdated in terms of processes and efficiency. So insurance company will carry cost at around 20% of the premium, which make that the sum of the two, when you pay $100 of premium, 60 disappear between commission and expense, and only 40 disappear in expense and commission, and only 60 come back to service your claim. and that's a very high level for anywhere in the world. Best country, best-in-class country will do that with only 15 as a cost. So I think price is a big issue, and how we try to address that in the market is by getting direct to consumer, by selling product digitally, removing the intermediary in the process, as well as getting more efficient in the servicing of the business by automating tasks, AI to help on the treatment of documentation and so on and so forth to be able to reduce the cost that we bear on our product. I see a few more other pain points, but maybe I'll...
Yeah, so that's definitely one of them. The other, sorry, my name is Prem, by the way, the co-founder of Frank, now Boltec. Yes, price is one. I do think that there are other aspects that are also as difficult to solve. One of it is distribution. I mean, all of us here are trying to somehow digitalize the insurance industry. That's why we call it Insurtech, right? So it could just be the distribution of it, like the digitalization of the distribution, digitalization of the processes, digitalization of the claims, like, you know, claim D is doing or someone else is doing. There are a lot of aspects to it. So if you have to look at it as an overall, right, in terms of what you can tackle in the insurance industry that I've seen, it's one side, the front end, the easiest part is the distribution. The second part is the claims and processing. The third part is the operations and back end. I think Nicholas is brave enough to try to tackle all three at the same time. For me, I'm really focused on the front end, which is the distribution side of things, because I feel that there has to be a better way for products to get to customers so that customers can see, compare, click buy, as well as just understand everything that they're doing. And a lot of that has to come from simplifying the product first. Without the simplification of the product, we're going to be where the travel insurance travel industry was, let's say 15 years ago. I encourage you to go back and think. Back then, if you wanted to travel to a country you've never been to before, you'd have to go to an agent because you don't understand the visa application process. You have no idea how to book a hotel in another country. You have no idea how to get flights for different timings that you want. So you go to an agent or a broker. Now it seems archaic. You would never do that. You just go online to Skyscanner or Agoda and start booking everything right away because that information has been simplified and stupefied for you to be able to buy it and make a decision on it very, very quickly. And these are not small purchase items. When you're traveling overseas, you're spending a couple of $1,000s on the flights, hotels, visa processing, everything. So distribution for me, it's something that really, really matters. Yes, price is a contribution of it, but for me, I try to digitize not just digitize the entire process of distribution.
Cindy, you have any pain point that your company is serving, or any services and products that you develop to tackle some of the pain points?
Sure. I mean, at Sunday, we're a full stack, so meaning to say we also have an insurance company and we somehow operate as an insurance company ourselves as well. So we look at risk management and prediction. I think there are two biggest pain points for consumers. Definitely pricing. There is a price war in the market for insurance, no matter what product class. And when you look at just global trends, how consumers buy any products, not even insurance, because of e-commerce, is just customers just expect all types of prices to get cheaper. And there's pressure on the insurers to make it more affordable. And how do you then also protect the margins? So I think insurers need to really adopt a lot of data science to really find how do you produce a premium that is a lot cheaper and still maintain, for example, 75% loss ratios, right? So definitely that's one area. The second one is actually customers now find it hard to pay this kind of premium, but then what is your compelling service? So that's why there's a price war. And I think that, like for example, at Sunday, so we're really we're in a health space, so health space globally even, you see there's a lot of pricing pressures. We try to adopt a lot of risk prediction models, try to automate internally as well so we can pass on the margins back to our users. And on the after service side, we try to also embed different types of digital healthcare services within the insurance claims journey because it's going to happen. I think the business model of insurers, especially those playing in health insurance, they will start encroaching into the provider space to allow you to get more control and to promote patient independence and try to reduce your frequency and severity of risk occurrence. And in that way, hopefully that translates to lower loss costs, which is typically the largest cost structure of any premium. So I think, service differentiation for a consumer is super, super important. Yeah.
Good. So yeah, that's a good point that from, providing a full service, including how to write the premium, how to distribute it. And there's also another element, which maybe David can shed some light on, which is also the hardware and the software that will be built in the hardware can also, how that can help. So that can be in health, tracking your actual health by wearing device, or that can be for motor insurance by monitoring your driving. So maybe David, can you tell us a bit more what's going on on the hardware side of things, and how does that link to the rest of the business?
Yeah, absolutely. So evening everyone, David Henderson, CEO and co-founder of Driver. Now what we do is we give insurance companies tools that allow them to understand the risk of the driver. That means that they can price their policies a lot better. They can also send quotes directly to the driver based on their driving behavior. Pricing doesn't have to be about your gender, your age, the type of car you have, or where you live. It can be based on how you drive, and where you drive and the amount of time you spent driving, because these are actually the key factors that determine the risk of that policy. So it doesn't, if you're 24 years old and you drive your car 1 hour a week, and you're male, that doesn't, the fact that you're 24 years old and you're driving a BMW M3 doesn't mean you're going to be a dangerous driver. But the traditional insurance models would assume that, right? Because some of those drivers have a higher accident rate. So what we do is we have smartphone applications and device-based solutions that help the insurance companies understand the risk of that individual driver. So they can much better price their policies. They can either use that information to send targeted quotations to that customer based on their actual experience, or else they can use it to better understand the risk of their particular book. So by driving about 300 kilometers, we can build up a pretty good profile of your driving behavior, how much time you spend braking, accelerating, speeding, and using your smartphone. We even have accident notification.
Yeah. Prem, want to add something?
What he's saying is absolutely right. It should be the way to go. It makes no sense for you to pay a high premium for a car that you're driving just because the car is high risk and there are other drivers who are bad drivers driving your car. But on the flip side of it, if you look at it from the insurance company's perspective, how are they going to sell you a dynamically priced product through their agent and broker network, which Nicholas has said before? The problem, again, it comes back to some aspect of it is still distribution, because the distribution network right now is the agents and brokers are selling these car insurance based on paper rates or fixed rates or pre-underwritten policies, which pretty much means that you get this price for this car is based on this table rate. You see this amount you're driving. Okay, this is your price, because they're offline. These agents are running around, or the brokers are running around through offline system. There's no digitized application for them. So now either you do two things, right? In order for those kind of policies to work, in order for an insurance company to even sell a dynamically priced policy for you, you either have to build an entire full stack network like Nicholas has done on his platform for Ruchai, which asks all these questions before giving a price, or you join a distribution network that allows you to create these dynamically prices, which essentially you have to ask the same questions anyways. It's a big trade-off in the industry where, and everyone in e-commerce also knows this, every question you ask a customer before giving a price, there's a big drop-off in conversion. So it sounds easy, it sounds simple, and especially when Damien was showing the insurance numbers before about how fancy the insurtech industry looks and how much funding there is and how many companies are exits. It's a pain in the ass, honestly. I come from e-commerce, so it's much easier to sell an iPhone than to sell insurance products. I can tell you that.
So what is Boltech working on at the moment? Any other services or products in the distribution to support that? You're the head of the Insurtech Exchange as well, right?
If I told you, I'd have to quit and then come work for you. No, I mean, for us, we're really keen on in our Boltech group, right, we focus on 3 different lines of businesses. So I run the Insurtech Exchange, which is essentially the main core platform, the distribution platform. In our group, we also have an insurance company, which is a FWD General Insurance, because Boltech is a sister company to FWD. And part of that, we also have a Boltech Device Protection, which was formerly known as AmTrust Mobile Solutions. So you guys might not have heard of it, but if you've heard of Samsung Care Plus, which is the underwriter or the service that Samsung provides for you guys to fix your phone, that's actually us in the back end. So, based on these three, those two are the product providers, so to speak, and then we are the distribution point, which is why we're now called the Insurtech Exchange.
So one more question is, probably three of you guys in your business, you kind of write your own products, you have your own insurance company, you operate as a full stack company. Is it the only way to go, or is it possible to be a tech that's going to support that? What's your view on that?
For me personally, my view is that sometimes you need to push the industry forward. By only way you can do that sometimes is to lead by example. So if we have an insurance company within our ecosystem, we might be able to smartly underwrite a risk that another insurance company would not be able to, or would not dare to even try. Because for them, when they're creating a new product, they have to worry about all their other distribution channels as well. So let's say, for example, a health product, like Cindy was saying, she wants to create a unique health product that is cheaper in the market or just has special features that no one else has. To go to AXA or another big player to create that, they would have to wonder, if I do this, will it affect my other product listing at the moment? The people who are selling these other products, are they going to get affected? Will my sales drop here just for this incremental growth here? This is a test. Is it the risk? They'll most likely say no. So sometimes you need that internal push or the internal help or tie in with one specific insurance company to say, you know what, we need to do this, and you guys can test this with us, and you guys can iterate with us at a closer level. I don't know. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. I think Sunday started with always a vision to be an insurance company ourselves. I think the reason why is because when you look at insurance, I mean, it's one of the most complex products, but it's also one of the most interesting from my point of view. It's all about risk. And when you look at risk, how do you package it into a product? You need to price it. So if you don't have a license and you're not a full stack, you can't price it. And also, the second point is that insurance, it's not like Apple, you're selling a hardware, you're selling literally a paper, right? And the promise that you would actually service them when something bad happens. So you need to be able to have control of the service element, the after-sale service. Without a license and without being an insurance company, you can't. Maybe you can, but the UX won't be great. Because you don't have control with integration, and that's what we see with pure distribution players who are insurtechs in across the region, actually. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. I mean, you need to be able to control the product to make it different, because the existing product in the market today are done for the traditional distribution channel. So all insurance companies are building products which are convenient for their agent and broker rather than their customer. And if you are not able to control your product, then you can't benefit from the digitalization of it. And it's because if you can build and price your own product, then you can leverage the power of the website, of the data collection that you can do on the website to be able to bring true value to the consumer and not to the agent.
Great. On this topic, so talking about creating new products that you basically design based on the needs, how difficult is it to create a new product from a regulatory perspective? Sorry for this question, but we have to talk about this case. How critical is the government in the success of your business in general and in letting products out?
I mean, it certainly could be easier, but it's not impossible. I think, to be fair, the Thai regulator has been very forward-looking and to a certain extent quite positive in letting innovation come to the industry. It is still a regulation where you need to file your product before selling them, which to a certain extent is a bit backward, but US is doing the same thing, so it's not a question of level of development. It's a question
you can't really try your product first and then see if there's demand, and then you have to
file, you have to explain, you have to explain why you're doing it this way, and so on and so forth before the regulator allow you to sell. And again, it's the same in the US. So it's nothing to do with development. But there are other jurisdictions which are a bit more forward-looking, where they will let insurer launch their product, but put the onus on the insurer to make sure that the product delivers the service. And if consumer complain, then they will have to face the story. And so I think I'll certainly prefer a regulation which is a posteriori than a priori regulation. But saying that is still quite. It is possible to create new product in Thailand.
Yeah. Definitely product approval is one of the biggest pain points for, I'm sure, any insurers. In a way, I'm thankful this is not the US, where every state you need to file a different product. So I'm really thankful for that. But again, yeah, you have to sometimes wait, don't know, like 3, 6, 2 years to get your product approved, and by then it's changed. So that has been our experience, and OIC does have a fast track process, but it's not really fast track as well because they have so many questions. So that has been our biggest pain point on how to manage, but we do understand the regulators' concerns. The other one is actually digital insurance license. After digital banking license, insurance is always the next step. But I think when you have a license, then you have to think about solvency ratios, you have to think about risk-based capital. And when you're a startup company, then typically the regulators are not very familiar with the type of financials, and that's why you need to really engage the regulator, from my perspective, to really explain to them what's your strategy for growth, for scale, and also long-term profitability. So even when digital insurance licenses do come in, then how would that match you? Because, for example, some of us here already have a normal sort of a vanilla license, but would you consider a digital insurance license? And some regulators actually come to you and ask you to convert. But how does that impact your business model as well? So I think that's the next big thing that a lot of insurers would have to think about when they think about their digital strategy. Also, new competition coming in. I think there are many other non-insurance companies who would get a license as well. So I think those are all the things that I see from a regulator's perspective, trying to also promote fair competition, really promote innovation in a sense. Yeah.
Maybe David, also, I understand you guys have been facing some issues on the hardware side as well, and also bringing these new models you were talking about, such as usage-based insurance, monitoring of drivers. How is that going on a legal perspective, and how far are we into being able to deploy this type of solutions in Thailand, for example, or maybe in the region as well?
Look, for a device-based solution, like basically you can put a device in your car that monitors your driving behavior. Those devices tend to have SIM cards or Bluetooth communication in them, and there's a process to register that with the NBTC, the broadcasting government, because they don't want people just deploying random devices that interfere with other telecom systems, for example, the BTS or military systems. So I understand why those are there. It's just that process could be a lot better. There's hundreds of pages of paperwork that need to be submitted. But in terms of regulation overall, I think the regulators here are one of the reasons, both in banking and insurance, why Thailand doesn't have a unicorn, right? And I'm not going to say they're the sole cause of that, but in other countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Singapore, you've seen unicorns emerge in the fintech sector, and that hasn't happened in Thailand because things like getting insurance licenses, banking licenses, this kind of launching products quickly is virtually impossible. Vietnam, on the other hand, is more open to that, as are other players. So I'm not going to say it's absolutely impossible. Obviously, the guys here have launched here and they have products in the field, and well done to them. But it could be a lot easier than it is.
Yeah, we have seen also some companies like Ferdi and also Carpool try to launch some products where you would pool your insurance together with a group of good drivers and get cashbacks at the end of the year if you didn't have any accident. And all of them were launching, kind of doing some PR about this, and then it seemed in the end could not get these type of products approved. So how do you guys see this going forward? Do you think it has to give up and then work on more traditional product, or is it, I said, the regulators are getting more aware of what's going on? What's your view on how fast we can move to this type of new products that would help develop the insurance?
I'm not, was it regulator didn't approve, or was it customer didn't buy?
I'm not so sure, but if you say it takes so long to,
I think it's the later.
but it takes so long to, as I said, it's hard to test and to do. Maybe there's some models that can work, but if it takes 2 years to get approved, and then of course it's hard to,
I mean, I haven't seen any example anywhere where the type of direct risk pooling is really working.
It's just an example, but we can talk about innovative ideas, let's say in general.
Okay, but I don't see that was a regulator issue. I think it's more a customer issue. That, it's not because it's innovative that customers are going to buy it. And one thing, as David knows very well, telematics is a fantastic concept for the insurer. It's a way to be able to understand the risk in a better way, to price more appropriately, to eventually even do risk management by telling the customer how to improve their driving. But it doesn't mean that customers want to buy it. And it is still a bit of an issue because of the data exchange, how much data you want to give to your insurer. Do you really want your insurer to know that you were driving at 150 when you got an accident, and things like that? So it's not always just about the technology, it's also about consumer acceptance, I think.
All right, so talking about, you mentioned some other countries, maybe a bit more friendly or things can move faster. Do you guys see your business more focused on Thailand, or is it possible to be regional in this space? What's your view on that?
Definitely regional. We started off Sunday not just for Thailand. We want to have the whole ASEAN market. But we started in Thailand because there's just so much talent here. We had a license in the first place, and I think Thailand is definitely one of the leading economies when you look at the gross written premium size of the company, of the industry. We just opened an office in Jakarta, our second market in Q4. Actually, we were supposed to do it in Q2, but COVID happened, and then I just screw it, I'll just do it in Q4 and set it up virtually. So definitely, I think ASEAN,
We're also trying to grow in ASEAN. But the good thing about being a part of the Boltec group like this, it's instant, essentially, launch in 8 different countries. Essentially, after Boltec acquired us, they took our platform and launched it now in Indonesia, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Singapore, Korea coming up soon, Malaysia coming up soon. So, mass expansion instantly because of the resources available and the capability of taking this. The reason we started this platform as well was never to just focus on Thailand. And that's one thing that I always wanted to be very clear is that, yes, we are a broker in Thailand selling insurance, but the product that we're building in the back end is not the actual brokerage. That is just a vehicle of how to sell the insurance. The platform itself is what we had built, and that's what we're scaling across the region, because that's the scalable part. The website, the UI UX, the way it works, the recommendation engine, the CRM system, the way that customers can choose different products and compare, quotation platform, APIs, all those things. Those are the scalable stuff, and that's what actually gives a company like us a valuation, or actually makes it attractive for us to an investor. Otherwise, if you were just a pure tele-sales broker, we would not be Insurtech. We'd be an insurance company. Nothing wrong with that. People make tons of money doing that. Some people have even successfully raised money doing that. But it's not scalable because you're tied to where your human capital is as opposed to where the platform can actually go.
How about you, David? You guys have customers in pretty much all over the world and able to be global as a support service. How do you see the role of the supporting companies and businesses to the industry?
I just briefly talk a little bit about our background and history. So we were heavily focused on device-based solutions where you put the device inside the car. And last year, one of the things that happened was the COVID situation, as everyone's aware, and that meant that distributing, selling, and all that logistics involved in shipping those devices became very difficult to do. So we actually executed a pivot and we moved away from that, and we're primarily now focused on app-based solutions and data-driven solutions. So we're always strong on the data side, but the method of distribution is an app, which means we can onboard customers pretty much anywhere in the world. And we're a B2B company. We don't sell stuff directly to consumers. We have customers, both insurance customers, but also in the fleet space. So I think, like everyone here, we are focused on not just Thailand, but also ASEAN and Southeast Asia in general. So yeah, I think it's a big space, and there's lots of opportunities if you have the right product. If you can meet those customer demands, if you can get that product market fit, you can grow the business, or you can end up not doing that.
Okay, so how about you, Nicolas? Thailand or regional or global?
Thailand it's a big market, as we say. So 8 billion non-life, 20 billion life. It's a market where you can scale. We are looking at other countries too, but insurance, unlike other type of solution, are not that portable. Of course, there's a lot of things which is portable, but there's a lot which is not portable and which is dependent on the country regulation, especially in the motor insurance, because it's a compulsory line of business. So we are looking into expanding, but at a let's say slow pace. I mean, we've been here 5 years, and for the time being, still only operating in Thailand.
All right. So one last question before we go for Q&A and then some more beer, hopefully. In one sentence or short speech, can you give us your prediction or what will be the key to success in the future in this business? Just one key idea, one each, maybe?
I think to me, the beauty of technology in bringing insurance to the market is in helping in risk assessment and risk improvement, and not just selling a product up front and pay a claim later. And that's what David Technology is doing. It's telematics. It's also health insurance connected to your watch, and to be able to identify issues before they arrive, to have preventive measure, to help people manage their risk than just paying the damages. So I think that's the future of insurance for me. That's things we are investing in. Now it's not easy also to make customer accept that data exchange, and it's easier said than done.
All right, Cindy?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, is data science really need to build your capabilities around your predictive capabilities, risk modeling, to become a sustainable insurance company for the future who can basically underwrite any type of products, because I think the asset classes will shift in the next 10 to 20 years. Primarily, sometimes it's out of control. If Toyota comes in, 2035, everything will be EV cars in Thailand. So what are you going to do? So, for example, and I also, so I think definitely product development is the way to go, and try to do, for example, a subscription model type of insurance that will help you to generate better renewals, scale, and actually upsell and cross-sell every other product as well. Yep.
Prem?
Honestly, I think I wish the industry had more competitors. And I say that because we need people to start realizing, the people, when I say people, is consumers. Consumers need to start realizing that they can and should buy insurance online directly by themselves, as opposed to go through a traditional agent or broker. Again, think back to e-commerce. If Lazada did not invest the billions that they did, we would not be where we are today, where everyone automatically goes online to search for products and buys things on a regular and normal basis. If Shopee didn't throw in that couple of $1 billion to push that to happen, this would happen. So we need more people to do that. Otherwise, what's going to end up happening is this is going to take a lot longer, and everyone else around us is going to catch up and overtake us. And the companies within Thailand who want to grow there will never get the scale that we need to get. Because right now, out of the 8 billion plus 20 billion, 99.8% is still being done offline through an agent and broker. Like the online sales itself is still probably 0.2%. If I'm calculating that correctly as well, I might be wrong. But you see how insignificant that is. It's a fluctuation on a daily basis. So we need more people to invest more money. So I actually welcome more competition, because you learn from them, and it's honestly, if there's somebody that comes in and throws around a lot of money and keeps doing that, then it benefits everybody in the ecosystem.
With David, the last word.
I think insurance space is a really interesting space. It's primarily a data-driven business because you're looking at risk and behaviors. I think this industry has got a huge potential, and there's also a lot of changes that are happening in this industry. So autonomous vehicles is going to fundamentally change the insurance business, and you can either try and block that through regulation or prevent that from happening, but the reality is that's going to happen. So how the insurance companies deal with that, how startups emerge and deal with that is going to be a crucial question. So I think there's some really, really interesting stuff going to happen in this space in the next few years.
All right, I think that was a good conclusion, and thank you very much to our panel. Please give a big round of applause for all our panelists. I think we have time for a few questions. Yeah, 5 minutes, 10 minutes for some questions. Who has a question? Over there.
Hey guys, Jan from Aspire. How do you actually see the rise of Grab, Gojek, and all the big guys, right? ZA as well, coming into the market. Mostly, I would say on the PA or health insurance rather than the motor for now. How do you see them coming in?
I think they have a very interesting model because they're increasing the insurance market by putting embedded insurance, very small piece insurance, which they attach to a transaction, which will have happened with that insurance before. So I think it's great. They're augmenting the pie using technology to do that. I don't see them being competitive yet in the traditional product, I would say, to enter what you will buy as your key insurance product, like motor or life and health core product. That's what I will see that.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. Definitely these ecosystem players will be a distribution player. They want to convert their platform into a marketing platform. They want to monetize their pack side, DAC side, MAC side, right? So their passenger, driver, and merchant side. I definitely think that from our experience working with these ride-hailing companies, yeah, I agree. It's smaller ticket size items. I mean, we were working with them from the driver side, building privilege programs, for example. But you also start to see Grab and Gojek becoming, wanting to become more than just a broker, to become an insurance company themselves as well. So I think that would be interesting because that would, but I think, I mean, insurance is so big, there's so many product classes, so it will be interesting to see like whether A&H, accident and health, would be really big, because then how would they actually do their underwriting? Would they just focus on micro insurance because that's what we typically see right now, or would they also go into deeper and more complex products? So I think it will happen. I do think that these companies will ask for a digital insurance license if OIC would give them one. I do think that there are a lot other companies out there, whether yeah, I think Gojek might also get an insurance license in Indonesia if they, I mean, OJK is not going to give a digital insurance license, but I think they probably can buy one. But yeah, I think how they go deeper down into the after-sales service, make it very integrated, very smooth is yet to be seen. So that's my perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they make great customers. Honestly, with that large of pool, all they're trying to do is to monetize. There are super apps, and most super apps just try to monetize from the number of people who are visiting their platform. So if we can help them do that at a cheaper rate than they do it themselves, I think they would rather partner because they don't have to take the headache. And honestly, Line is one of those big examples. You know, Line can go buy a bank. Line can go buy a delivery fleet, but they'd rather partner with Lalamove. They'd rather partner with K-Bank or with the BK for these kind of services as opposed to build it all themselves, because doing all these regulated industries is not as easy as one thinks it is. Their core platform and their core business is Grab's ride-hailing, you know, all the food deliveries, everything like that. Line is a messaging app. If they lose that part of it, then everything that is on the side will also disappear. So while its sides are great for extra income, they still have to focus on their core thing. And if they start building all these things as their own businesses, eventually they'll lose focus on their core and they'll start losing everything altogether.
Other questions?
So I'm curious about the privacy end of telematics. Have you found that the consumer is willing to sacrifice some of their own privacy in exchange for discounted product, particularly when we're talking about, let's say, for example, auto insurance or health insurance?
I mean, yeah, I would say overall, it's an early stages of the market in Thailand. So the knowledge amongst consumers of telematics products is pretty low. Most people wouldn't be familiar with that term. If they had an opportunity to buy a product where they could save money on their insurance policy, some people would be concerned about the privacy implications, but some people wouldn't. So it really depends, is the trade-off worthwhile? From my experience, I think the limited reach of telematics products so far in Thailand shows that there is some demand, but it's in certain sectors. So the people who end up paying quite high premiums because they're younger drivers, for example, and are less concerned about sharing their data. So I don't think privacy is a massive concern, but with the new PDPA, the privacy law here in Thailand, people are becoming more aware of that and more aware of the value of their data. So it's a great question. Yeah.
I think the issue in Thailand for it to work is the premium are still a bit too small, I would say. So the saving that you can give to a consumer doesn't really make it worthwhile. But you can see in the US today that it's really starting to go very fast and quick. I mean, companies like Root and Metro Mile have already a few 100,000 customers each on a technology like that. So it's just a matter of time, I think, before it will become mainstream. But we need, I think, the premium to be a bit more expensive for people to say, yeah, it's really worth it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, maybe a last question. Otherwise, we'll just wrap it up. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you very much. Obviously, you can stay around for more drinks, networking, talk to the speakers if they want to stay.